Today on Studio One, staying in a safe place is human nature. Some jobs take people to the doorstep of danger. We'll take a look at hazardous occupations. Also, the familiar tick-tock sound from an old clock is as soothing as a lullaby. We'll meet a man who can repair lost time. And we'll listen to the varied sounds of songwriter Willie Porter.
From the University of North Dakota with Monty Cashel and Katie O'Keefe, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us.
We're all ready to start a brand new season here in the fall.
I'm really excited.
And I was digging through some stories and found a very interesting one. Archaeologists in China have found what is to be believed to be the oldest playable instrument ever.
Ever?
Ever.
How
9,000 years old.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
9,000 years old.
It's really old.
Well, did they know what it was made out of? Or?
It was made out of a wing bone of a crane.
Of a crane?
Yeah, of a bird. Pretty amazing.
So did they
stuff.
try it out and play it, or did they leave it alone?
Nope, they actually, some United States and China scientists, they blew through it and they actually played on the little holes and did
that's
a tune.
amazing.
It is, kind of neat. Well, coming up on the show, we have some other neat stuff. The FBI is everywhere. They're in the movies, they're at the White House, and they might be in your backyard. Later, we'll talk to a real FBI agent to see what his job is like.
There is a wide gap between women and men in the field of engineering. We'll talk with a woman who has helped close this gap.
But first, today's news with Joanna Storti.
Thank you, Katie and Monty. Jurors in Bryan, Texas, have sentenced a second man to death in connection with the dragging death of an African-American man. Today, Lawrence Russell Brewer was sentenced to death by lethal injection. Brewer is one of 3 men to face trial in the June 19, 1998 killing of James Byrd Jr. Byrd was kidnapped, beaten, and dragged behind a pickup truck for 3 miles over a country road. Prosecutors say Byrd was killed to promote the 3 men's white supremacist group. In February, John William King was convicted and sentenced to death for murder. The other suspect, Sean Berry, faces trial next month. In other news, floodwaters are beginning to recede across eastern North Carolina. Emergency officials are turning their efforts to help flood victims find temporary shelter and signing them up for food stamps. About 2,000 people are still in shelters and thousands more are staying with friends and relatives. Campsites and trailers are being set up around cities hit hardest by the flooding. An estimated 30,000 homes were damaged by the flood. North Carolina's governor says at least 1,600 were destroyed. The aspirin in your medicine cabinet may have more power than you think. Researchers have already found that aspirin can help prevent heart attacks. Now, a study by the journal Stroke shows a low dose of aspirin may be used to prevent a first-time stroke. A study of 70,000 nurses who took 6 or fewer aspirin per week reduced their risk of stroke, but those who took 15 or more per week doubled their risk. This is the reason why taking aspirin for that purpose remains controversial.
To say everyone should start taking an aspirin to help prevent strokes would be off base. You should still check with your doctor first to make sure there isn't any other type of risk factor that may preclude you from taking the aspirin on a daily basis.
Every year, 730,000 Americans suffer from a stroke. Researchers are hoping aspirin can help reduce that rate. Be prepared to hear more from politicians during the next campaign. The Federal Communications Commission has ruled that congressional candidates can buy television ads longer than the usual 30 or 60-second spots traditionally sold by broadcasters. FCC regulations has previously permitted broadcasters to refuse candidate airtime if they wanted lengthy ads. But the FCC says it can no longer find any solid reason to reject them. The FCC move is meant to give candidates the chance to discuss issues in more depth or to present their biographies. Farmers are facing trouble because of poor weather and low crop prices, but many business owners located in rural towns also fear for the future when farmers no longer have the means to buy their products.
Poor weather and low grain prices have become too much for many farmers to take. Many small Midwestern towns have a hard time these days, and Northwood, North Dakota is one example of a small town suffering from the farm crisis. This year, farmers could only plant half their crop. That's because they have had about 25 inches of rain so far this year, almost twice the normal amount. Even record-breaking yields won't be enough to meet typical expenses. If the yields are less than average, this season could push many farmers, like here in Northwood, out of business for good. But the farmers are not the only ones who are hurting. Many businesses in small towns who have farmers as customers are experiencing losses as well. Implement dealers are finding that most farmers can't afford to replace old equipment.
Farmers are not spending money on anything except some real necessary items. They've just got other places for their money. And
some people are worried about the future of small-scale farming and the future of having a business in a small-town community.
If we see good crop years, several years in a row, and good prices, we would see the local economies revived. But at this time, the outlook is very, very bleak.
If the farm economy doesn't turn around soon, many farmers and the small towns where they do business will continue the struggle to survive. I'm Guru Hatlo reporting for Studio One News.
Many blame the Freedom to Farm Act for the current farm crisis. The law removed most federal controls on what farmers grow, but it also drastically reduced the payments farmers receive when prices or yields are low. That's news. Now back to Katie and Monty.
Thank you, Joanna. It's really a risky business being in farming right now because the prices are so low for all the commodity that they make.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Everything's going up and their price, what they're making is going down.
That's right.
It's also harvest time, so I bet they're hoping that the sunshine will stay out.
As many people are right now.
Let's go take a look at our forecast at the Regional Weather Information Center with Eric Svoboda. Eric?
Well, Katie and Monty, the last week it's been sunny, nice temperatures, and tomorrow we're expecting the same with high temperatures reaching around 70 degrees. So let's take a look at our current conditions right now in Grand Forks. Temperatures at 65, the dew point's at 37, pretty dry air right now. Wind out of the north-northeast at 10 miles an hour, and the pressure is at 29.88 inches of mercury. As we look at our current temperatures around the area, you see Minneapolis at 68, some high 60s to mid 70s across much of the region, but you look off to our west, 85 in North Platte and 85 in Billings. The reason for that is, on our satellite, clear skies are allowing the sun to get through and warm up the surface. You can see some high cirrus clouds. They're not hampering the sun too much right now. And our current surface map shows that high pressure right now is dominating the area. Off to our east, you can see rain for Ontario and Quebec as that low pressure and cold front move through the area. And off to our west and south, in the Four Corners region, little rain right now in this hour. Tomorrow morning, much of the same story down to our south and west. And this cold front right here is going to be pushing through, and that's going to maybe bring some scattered showers for Saturday afternoon for us. We'll look at that a little bit more in the second half. Off to our east, same story with that cold front pushing through and bringing rain showers for New York and Pennsylvania. Friday evening, that rain pushes off. High pressure is slowly moving as that cold front pushes through. You can see tomorrow evening, Manitoba is going to be under some rain, and that rain is going to reach us by Saturday. Down to our south and west, that low pressure is still going to be causing some rain. So we look at Friday's highs, 70s for much of the region, 80s down to our south and west, and a little pocket of 60s to our east and north. Friday's lows, 30s to the east for Duluth and Ontario, or International Falls, 40s for the rest of the area. Saturday's highs, just like it should be, 60s to the north, 70s in the middle of the country, in the middle of our region, and 80s down to the south. Saturday's lows, 40s for much of the region, and 50s, a little swarm of that right there. For all of your up-to-date information, go to our homepage at www.rwic.und.edu. So Friday, I expect, go out, hit a few golf balls, go to the tennis court, enjoy your day, Monty and Katie and everybody else.
Okay, I think I will go out and hit some golf balls.
Well, if Eric says it's not going to rain, then let's go out there and do something like that.
Right.
There's some other people swinging some baseball bats, and Chrissy Super's here to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Katie and Monty. The Major League Baseball regular season is winding down, and teams are making final attempts at catching the top teams in their league. Atlanta and New York squared off last night as the Mets tried to catch the Braves for first place. Bottom of the first, one out. Chipper Jones cracks a two-run homer into right off of Orel Hershiser, and he's on a roll. That's his third homer in 2 days. Braves up 2-0. But Mike Piazza answers back in the fourth. He slices a Tom Glavine pitch deep into left. Mets tie it up 4-4. But look out, here come the Braves in the bottom of the eighth. 2 on, our hurt Brian Jordan comes up with a single into left. Brett Boone scores, and around comes Chipper Jones in for the 5-2 lead. And the Braves would hold on for the win, staying 3 games ahead of the Mets. To the American League, Toronto at Boston. Bases loaded, top of the second, Bryce Floyd pitches it to David Segui, who pops a high floater to center field. Damon Bierford will not make the catch. Huge error. Homer Bush scores from second. Toronto will finish the inning with 6 runs. Bottom of the second, Red Sox will finally get on the board with this solo homer by Tim O'Leary off of Kelvin Escobar. But Boston could not ever catch Toronto, who go on to win 14-9. For most people, lifting weights can be beneficial to their health, but if not done properly, it can have the opposite effect and cause injuries. Lifting weights without using the proper techniques can result in muscle strains and pulls, which can also lead to chronic problems in the back and leg areas. Athletic trainers recommend that beginners take a weightlifting class, which shows them the proper way to lift.
A lot of people come in, they're a little intimidated. They're scared to ask questions. It's maybe a busy time. So come in, make sure you're comfortable with the facility, and then also maybe schedule an appointment. Talk to the staff, see if they can take you through a program.
Some easy things to remember when lifting weights is to never lift more than you can handle and lift in regular sets and repetitions. Trainers also recommend adding cardiovascular exercises to your workout to raise your heart rate and loosen muscles. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question of the week. This week's question is, what was the longest field goal in NFL history and who kicked it? And I'll have the answer to that question and more sports in the second half hour, but now more with Monty and Katie.
Thank you, Chrissy. Coming up on Studio One, we'll meet a man who has the power to stop and restart time. We'll spend a day in the life of a man who repairs clocks.
But next, we'll talk with an FBI agent and find out just exactly what he does. That's next on Studio One.
We're a very smart family. We wanted a warm house, a cozy fire, hot dogs on the grill, lots of hot water, and saving money. So we chose natural gas from MSP, the wise energy choice.
Columbia Mall in Grand Forks has been a cornerstone of the Grand Forks economy for over 20 years. Meet me at Columbia is a slogan that has seen friends and neighbors gathering at Columbia Mall. 3 main anchors with 80 specialty stores and shops greets customers daily, Monday through Sunday, featuring the very latest in goods and services at the most competitive prices. Shop Target, JCPenney, and Dayton's, along with the specialty stores in climate-controlled comfort no matter what the season. A continuing leader and community cornerstone is Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
Your truly independent local bank, and we're reaching out to you. You know we care about you, Community National Bank. We care about you, Community National Bank. Community National Bank.
It's the way we welcome the sun. With 35 sunblock. The way the best water now mostly comes in bottles. It's the way we make time for exercise. We like to enjoy reading. Today, more and more people are finding reasons to live healthier. That's why Subway offers 7 subs, each under 6 grams of fat. Because when you're through surfing, you might want to put on a bathing suit. Subway, it's the way a sandwich should be.
You're watching Studio One. News, weather, sports, and entertainment.
To many, FBI agents are only seen in movies and on the news at high-profile crime scenes. The fact is that you may have an agent living in your neighborhood. With us today is Special Agent Jason Deaton to tell us about his job. Thanks for joining us today, Jason.
Oh, thanks for having me.
How did you get into all this? When did it start for you?
Personally, I always wanted to become an FBI agent from a very early age. So it was like a lifelong dream of mine to become an FBI agent.
When did you decide this is what I want to do?
Probably when I was in the 8th grade. There was some notorious criminal activity going on in the Kansas City area. It had to deal with some organized crime elements in the town. Several homicides, bombings, things of that nature were going on. And at the end of it, these guys in blue windbreakers with the FBI letters on them rounded up the culprits and put them in jail.
Okay, how did you start your process to become an FBI agent?
I studied up on what it was that were the requirements to become a special agent of the FBI. And at that time, most FBI agents were in fact either accountants or attorneys. So at a fairly early age, I decided that the best course was to pursue a law degree.
Okay. And then what kind of physical training do you go through to get into the FBI?
Part of the physical regime that you have to use and do to get into the FBI is a lot of running, a lot of push-ups, upper body type of activities.
Okay. Now that you're in the FBI and you just graduated from the academy, do you get to choose where you want to go in the U.S. then, or?
By and large, the FBI will send you wherever there is a need. There are over 56 different field offices throughout the United States, and the FBI tries to get you to a location which you would find desirable, but at the other end of it, the overall say is where the FBI needs you.
They've got a plan.
That's right.
Now, in the Midwest, that's where you are right now. Is it different than other places in the United States where there's maybe different types of crimes and things?
Yes, it is, specifically in North Dakota. As opposed to other parts of the country, we are tasked here in North Dakota with crimes on Indian reservations, which require a lot of our resources and time. Additionally, things that we see particularly in North Dakota would be areas such as government fraud, white-collar crime, fraud schemes. We see a lot of that here. Of course, we're always reacting to bank robberies or kidnappings or other kinds of violent crime, but by and large, our majority of work we see in North Dakota as opposed to other parts of the country would be the Indian crimes.
Okay, so basically a day for you would be investigating these types of different crimes then?
That's correct. Usually we handle a variety of things, whether it's crime on an Indian reservation or white-collar crime type of an offense or violent crime type of an offense. We also investigate international and domestic terrorism. We also investigate matters regarding foreign counterintelligence.
What's the most exciting case that you've been on?
Personally, I would say that the most exciting case that I worked on was the Oklahoma City bombing.
And what did you do with that?
I was assigned to the Oak Bomb Task Force in Kingman, Arizona for approximately a 4-month time frame.
Okay. Interesting. Now, are the movies a fair portrayal of what FBI agents do?
Most movies tend to exaggerate the lives and duties of the FBI. By and large, we're just normal people. We don't get into car chases every day. We don't get into shootouts very often. We are just normal folks who sometimes find ourselves in extraordinary situations.
Now, if I'm an 8th grader that's seeing this interview and going, I want to be an FBI agent, what would you tell them to get started to get ready to be an FBI agent?
Well, in order to become an FBI agent, you have to be between the ages of 23 and 37 years of age. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have a valid driver's license. And there are a few other things. If I was looking to get into the FBI right now, I would suggest that the best chance would be through high education, law degree, getting a 4 years degree in language specialty or computer sciences or engineering area, those types of things. Plus, not only do we look for education, but we really look for high character in our individuals. We don't want to entrust the FBI to the public with folks who don't have the character to carry out our mission.
To deal with the public, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. We appreciate all the information. One last tidbit that I'd like to know, how many agents are there in the U.S. right now?
Presently, we have 11,243, I believe, and that not only takes into account the United States, but we also have agents assigned abroad at various league positions.
Good. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today, Jason.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll listen to an award-winning songwriter next. But first, we'll find out the secret to fixing lost time. You're watching Studio One. Good. Thank you very much for...
The University of North Dakota's Division of Continuing Education can help you learn throughout your lifetime. Begin or continue your education through correspondence study, extended degree programs, and extension courses. For your personal or professional growth, we offer conferences as well as courses in dietary management and real estate.
We invite you to contact us at the Division of Continuing Education to discuss your learning opportunities.
Call us or look us up on the World Wide Web. The University of North Dakota has a rich history of retaining and graduating American Indian students. UND offers 28 American Indian programs, more than any other higher education institution in the United States. The support services provided by Native American programs ensure student success. Native American programs offer tutoring, academic advising, and financial aid assistance, which makes UND a leader in Indian education. For more information, call 1-800-CALL-UND. That's 1-800-CALL-UND.
The academics are really strong. The professors, they really challenge you to learn and to apply your knowledge.
I think there's many different opportunities in different places that students can go on and off campus. School of Engineering Minds we're kind of one close-knit community. Everybody's friendly. You're not just, a name in the crowd or a number.
I've always wanted to do engineering. What we're learning here is just hands-on.
The department has been very good about acquiring the resources we need.
I think that through this project I've gained a lot of the team working skills, leadership.
A campus that supports a wide range of degrees gives you a nice ability to round out your education in a variety of areas.
Many people find time to be beyond their control. In a crowded basement, we found a man who knows how to fix broken time. Today, we'll spend a day in the life of a clock repair person.
Francis Moreau has been working with clocks for 38 years. One of his specialities is the cuckoo clock. He says many people avoid this complex machinery due to its difficult wiring. He says it takes a lot of patience to get all the wires just right. Francis learned a trade from a very special man.
An older fella was my teacher. He was just like a father to me. He helped me. And he was the best clock man in North Dakota. So, I had a good teacher.
Francis started a jewelry store in Grand Forks back in 1961. The shop ran for 38 years until it was destroyed by flood in 1997. Francis cherished his old workplace because of its unique tradition.
Missed the store because I used to have the coffee pot on in the back room for all the customers that come in. It was a different type of a store than what you normally think of because of the coffee pot.
Many of the clocks that come to the repair shop are very old. Most of them are between 70 and 100 years. Francis has learned how to read a clock's age. He says he's able to often find an age by knowing the company that manufactured the clock and by how much it's worn out. The quality of Francis' work is based on his love for his job.
But no, I enjoy it. If you enjoy something, that's what you do.
I'm Christina Lanslet, reporting for Studio One.
The oldest clock Francis ever worked on was 239 years old. It was a grandfather clock that ran on wooden gears. One of Wisconsin's treasured musical voices makes his latest debut with a new album called Falling Forward. Recording artist Tori Amos says Willie Porter plays the kind of rhythms that make her want to crawl inside his guitar and sleep there forever. We took in one of his performances.
Willie Porter is a storyteller. His humble onstage nature and passion for drama transforms his performance into a celebration of music. Willie's combination of impressive guitar playing and passionate vocals continues to blossom throughout his career. His success began with an unexpected radio hit and led him to a series of tours. Willie is open for major acts like the Cranberries, Tori Amos, and Ricky Lee Jones. He says touring has allowed him to explore variations in the American culture.
What works in one town one night musically would just leave people yawning the next night in another town, or vice versa. So you never know what you're going to get, and that's part of the grand adventure of it.
Willie began performing as a solo artist, but says he got tired of listening to himself all the time. He says he is happy to be traveling with the same band that performed on their album.
The individual musicians are really great players in their own right, so sometimes it's fun for me to just stop playing on stage and look around, and it's great when the music continues without you having to do anything, and it still sounds good.
Willie's latest album includes an array of popular musical styles, including pop, folk, and rock. Despite some criticism for his variety, Willie has proven that his distinctive songs can reach a wider audience. Willie's performance tonight is no exception. This is Kristen Ruckadahl reporting for Studio One.
Willie Porter has received 8 Wisconsin Area Music Awards, earning himself Best Male Vocalist and Songwriter of the Year for 1997. For tour dates, visit his website at www.willieporter.com. Now, time to take a look at the events happening in your area.
Florida is testing all 4th graders in reading and math. If too many kids from one school fail these tests, its students become eligible for up to $4,000. These kids can use the money to attend private schools or another school of their choice. We asked your thoughts on whether this will make schools better in Florida and across the country.
I think that in time, parents would catch on, and then they might push their kids not to excel in school and maybe fail so they could get free money to go to private school where they might feel they get a better education.
I think if you want to send them to private school, send them one, but don't go this way.
A lot of people that would be in need of that $4,000 would be the type of people that who may need the actual help. And so, I mean, I guess all in all, I think it's a really good idea.
I mean, that shows that the teachers aren't doing their jobs. So why should the kids get money to go to college because the teachers can't teach? They should discipline the teachers, not reward the kids.
They should start with the curriculum first. There are better ways to go about than giving the scholarships. Instead of sending the students away, I think they should work at the school and make the school better.
The smell of popcorn meets you as you enter the Grand Theater in Crookston, Minnesota. The beautiful ornaments in the balcony in this movie theater tells you there is something different about it.
The National Association for Theatre Owners says the Grand Theatre in Crookston is the longest-running theatre in the nation. It has been running since it first opened in 1910. At the time when the theatre opened, Crookston was a lumbering community and business was booming.
We were considered to be the stop between Minneapolis and Winnipeg, quite often on Sundays, for really big acts. This was built here figuring, well, we'll capture the business.
In the beginning, the theatre was used for live performances. They used to show plays and musical comedies. Vaudeville performances were popular as well.
When it first opened, it was built only for live performance, vaudeville, the vaudeville era. And basically, motion pictures were still what they considered the old Edison days of the Nickelodeon.
In 1920, the theatre started showing feature-length movies. The first film shown was a silent movie called Wings.
Of course, back in those days, when they first started showing them, they were silent pictures.
Today, the theatre has expanded to 2 screens. Apart from the expansion, there have been few changes made to the original theatre. Even many of the seats from 1910 are still the same. From a really old theatre in Crookston, Minnesota, I'm Vibeke Carlson reporting for Studio One.
The Grand Theatre is truly a family business. It has been in the Hiller family for 3 generations. Engineers design recording studios, coliseums, and medical devices. We'll talk with an engineering expert who has helped many women get ahead in this field. Plus, danger is a scary word to most, but to others it is another day on the job. That story plus news, sports, and the updated weather forecast in the next half hour on Studio One.
Sioux Pride. The championship tradition is strong at the UND bookstore. Before the game, shop the UND bookstore for the largest selection of officially licensed Sioux products. No matter what your sport, the UND bookstore can help you show your Sioux colors. The UND bookstore welcomes all alumni, friends, and Sioux fans. Shop for quality name brand clothing, Sioux collectibles, books, and supplies. Come to the UND bookstore located in the Student Union.
The School of Law at the University of North Dakota is steeped in tradition. From the first graduating class, students today learn from the Modern Law Library and computer labs. Students write for the North Dakota Law Review, take part in moot court, and review court proceedings with video technology. Law and medical students compete in the annual Malpractice Bowl.
The size of our student body gives great access to their teachers, and our computer network allows us to access worldwide legal resources.
Look up the UND School of Law for more opportunities.
Are you a parent looking for childcare? Do you know what good childcare looks like? Do you provide childcare and have questions? Does childcare affect your business? Do you have employees who are concerned about childcare? Doesn't every child deserve quality childcare? Any questions? Call Child Care Resource and Referral.
The University of North Dakota's College of Business and Public Administration is nationally and internationally recognized as a center of excellence.
We actually created a business plan for this small retail store, which is now being used.
It's introducing me to technology that'll be used in my business work environment.
For more information about the UND College of Business and Public Administration, phone 1-800-CALL-UND.
From the University of North Dakota with Monty Cashel and Katie O'Keefe, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, I read a quick little tidbit in the newspaper about the first interplanetary weather satellite that NASA sent out was lost or destroyed.
Where was it supposed to be going?
It's supposed to be going to Mars to study the weather.
Okay, and how much did that cost?
Only $125 million.
$125 million.
Yeah, burned up.
Gee, that's not good.
No.
Well, I'm sure they'll find some way to either recover it or if not, put something else up there to find up the data. Well, on with the show. Coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, we'll look at the differences between giving blood and getting paid for your plasma.
And we'll tag along with some people who have hazardous jobs.
We'll also talk to a woman who knows all about engineering and how women can break into that field. But first, today's news with Joanna Storty.
Thank you, Katie and Monty. Indonesia says it's ending martial law, but that isn't ending the unrest in East Timor. Students are outraged at a new law strengthening the Indonesian army. Thousands of university students rampaged through several cities of Indonesia. They clashed with security forces during two Jakarta protests. The students were protesting a new law giving the military full power during emergencies. Students say the measure threatens Indonesia's democratic rule. In other news, Taiwanese and international rescue teams are digging furiously for any trapped survivors from Tuesday's earthquake. More than 2,000 people are confirmed dead, and officials say that the number will rise as international crews move forward with their search for missing people. Many high-rises were left toppled over from the killer quake, where many victims still may be trapped. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.6, close to the same tremor that killed more than 14,000 people in Turkey last month. When firemen come to the scene of a motor vehicle accident, their first priority is to free the victim as fast as possible. To do this, they've been using a unique piece of equipment for many years now. It is called the Jaws of Life, a hydraulic spreader unit that can tear into or pop open any part of the car to help free victims trapped inside. The shears are successfully helping to save many people's lives.
It's a tool that's a lifesaver for people who are trapped inside a vehicle. With the jaws, we're able to open up the doors. We're able to cut the top off. We could actually pretty much dismantle the whole car.
When the jaws are at full spread, they can exert up to 55,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. The company that created Jaws of Life says its tool is used by 30,000 rescue squads in fire, police, and military departments throughout the world. Children who are born deaf may have a new chance to hear if it's detected at an early age. German researchers have done studies on deaf kittens which show that they can learn to hear with special use of implants put into their ears. The implants that will be used on humans have surgically implanted parts that directly stimulate the auditory nerve. These nerves carry signals into the brain where they are interpreted as hearing. The only catch, according to scientists, is the implantation has to take place in a child younger than 2 years old. Every day, blood donors around the nation have an important decision to make. They can give away blood or plasma to local blood banks or get paid for it by commercial plasma centers.
Deb Anderson has been donating at her local blood bank for several years now. She, like many other donors at the blood bank, gives to help others.
I've been doing this about 20 years. It makes me feel good, like you're doing something for someone.
Deb Anderson is the type of donor the Dachman Blood Bank in Grand Forks, North Dakota relies on. Because like many other communities, Grand Forks has a plasma center where donors get paid for their plasma. But the two blood donation centers say they are not necessarily competing for donations. The coordinator of the Dachman Blood Bank says there are two types of donors.
There's altruistic people that do it for the feeling of their own self-satisfaction and for the feeling of helping others. And then there are people that do it for money.
The other center, Community Bioresources, pays their donors for plasma, but the assistant manager says the money is just a small bonus to helping others.
I don't think that most people come in because they need money, and that's a nice benefit for them, but they're also giving us their time. We have a lot of people who come in to donate because they just really feel like it's a good thing to do. They know the programs that we have.
There is another difference between the centers. The blood bank's donations are used for those in need within the community, while the plasma centers ship their donations out of town. So even if some donate for one reason,
$20, it's your fool around money, for the weekend.
Or just for the satisfaction of helping someone in need.
But I'd like to think that people could do it just because it's a good thing to do, makes you feel good.
Either way, those who run both centers say all donors are helping to save lives.
The plasma from the donation center is processed into injectable products that help treat and prevent a number of diseases and medical conditions. That's news for today. Now more with Katie and Monty.
Thank you, Joanna. And studies have also found with blood donation that transfusions are increasing where they need blood, and actually the donations are going down.
I know. I remember one time last year, Monty, over a newscast, they asked for people to please go into your local hospitals and donate blood.
Yeah,
so
it's easy to do it.
It's easy. Once again, let's go to the Regional Weather Information Center with Eric Svoboda. Eric?
Well, Monty and Katie, tomorrow, Saturday might be a good day to go out and donate some blood. We're looking at some scattered showers late in the afternoon. Let's take a look at our current conditions for this hour. Temperature is 65, dew point is at 36, wind slightly less at north at 5 miles an hour, and the pressure still dropping, now at 29.87 inches of mercury. As you look at this jet stream, this huge warm air mass is covering most of the nation, except for off into the east we're having a small trough, but as we move into Tuesday you'll see that trough moves back into a zonal flow, and I'd say 90 to 92% of the nation is going to be under warm air for early next week. Saturday's surface map looks like this: cloudy skies for much of the region, and those rain showers I was talking about are being caused by this cold front that's going to be passing through Saturday in the early afternoon. In the eastern coast, high pressure is going to be dominating. And Tuesday we're looking at clear skies for much of the Midwest. Off to the east, little low pressure causing some rain showers. But off to our west, you can see that this low pressure system up in Alberta is going to be our next weather maker, probably going to bring some rain for our area for late next week. Your weekend's shaping up like this: partly sunny skies and chance of light afternoon rain on Saturday. But that shouldn't hamper with the temperatures. It's still going to be nice out, just maybe a few sprinkles late in the afternoon.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Well, tomorrow I might enjoy myself outside. Saturday, with the showers, I may stay in.
That's right, and the farmers out harvesting right now, they can take a little bit of a sprinkle, but just not too much.
Yeah.
Let's go now to sports with Chrissy Super.
Thank you, Monty and Katie. While some people go home and relax after a hard day of work, others feel that something is missing. They need action to fulfill their dream of a perfect day, and they do this by living their lives in the fast lane.
At the age of 13, Wade Nygaard was begging his dad about driving a race car. Like many other kids, Nygaard grew up watching his dad race and started racing his own cars when he was 18. Nygaard says most drivers on an amateur level also have regular jobs, and the racing is usually on the weekends. But the cars must be prepared before the next race, so they don't have much time to spare.
We put in on an average weekday, it's probably from 6, 7 o'clock at night till 1 in the morning every night.
Even though these drivers aren't full-time pros, the races are still fast-paced. The drivers get very close to each other. A driver missing a turn or crashing into another car is bound to happen.
It looks much worse than it is. You just kind of hang on and bounce around a little bit, and it's over before you know it.
While many drivers are happy about racing at the amateur level, others use this as a stepping stone to big-time racing.
What this is here is a jumping off deal where you go to this level and then to another level, another level, another level. And some of the people do that.
But for now, Wade Nygaard and other racers are enjoying their lives as part-time racers. I'm Harald Svarstad reporting for Studio One Sports.
The drivers say one of the biggest challenges in racing at this level is finding sponsors. Sponsorships allow the racers to pay for repairs and all the supplies they need for each race. Now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question: what was the longest field goal in NFL history, and who kicked it? It was a 63-yard field goal, and 2 men share the record. Tom Dempsey of the New Orleans Saints got it in 1970, and just last year, Jason Elam of the Denver Broncos tied the record. And that's the sports for today. Now more with Monty and Katie.
Thank you, Chrissy. Well, ahead on Studio One, the glass ceiling for women is disappearing in the discipline of engineering. We'll talk to one woman who can tell us why.
And someone has to do it. We'll take a look at precarious professions next on Studio One.
Are you a parent looking for childcare? Do you know what good childcare looks like? Do you provide childcare and have questions? Does childcare affect your business? Do you have employees who are concerned about childcare? Doesn't every child deserve quality childcare? Any questions? Call Child Care Resource and Referral.
The University of North Dakota has a rich history of retaining and graduating American Indian students. UND offers 28 American Indian programs, more than any other higher education institution in the United States. The support services provided by Native American programs ensure student success. Native American programs offer tutoring, academic advising, and financial aid assistance, which makes UND a leader in Indian education. For more information, call 1-800-CALL-UND. That's 1-800-CALL-UND.
University of North Dakota's College of Business and Public Administration is nationally and internationally recognized as a center of excellence.
They motivate me by keeping me interested in the class, having it more interactive.
Before they can get accredited, they have to meet certain requirements, and it's a good school.
For more information about the UND College of Business and Public Administration, phone 1-800-CALL-UND.
The School of Law at the University of North Dakota is steeped in tradition. From the first graduating class, students today learn from the Modern Law Library and computer labs. Students write for the North Dakota Law Review, take part in moot court, and review court proceedings with video technology. Law and medical students compete in the annual Malpractice Bowl.
The size of our student body gives great access to their teachers, and our computer network allows us to access worldwide legal resources.
Look up the UND School of Law for more opportunities.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Some people prefer to work in a nice, quiet, and safe environment. Others like to challenge the forces of nature in professions that to most of us may seem a bit scary.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. The roaring sound of a lonely plane can be heard across farmers' fields in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. At first sight, it seems like the plane is going down, but about 10 feet from crashing, it levels out and starts to spray a mist. Aerial applicators are pilots who apply chemicals to farm crops. It might look dangerous, but some statistics say otherwise.
Per hours flown, we have one of the safest records with general aviation today.
The pilots face the challenges of flying close to ground, as well as dealing with almost 100 different toxic chemicals. In a workday that sometimes lasts 16 to 18 hours, weather conditions can change from second to second and create a mental as well as physical tension.
The pilot has to be able to adjust quickly to the conditions he's given, and a lot of times in the turns maybe the conditions will change from the last time, and you got to be quick on your feet.
Mark says flying has become safer than it used to be. The specially designed planes, such as this one, have reinforced cockpits, and the 800 gallons of chemicals are usually kept in sealed containers. Due to what he calls a pilot's only enemy, bad weather, Mark crashed twice early in his career.
Some of the old-timers in the business state that there's those who will and those who have, and when you've done it, when you've been down once, twice, you learn to feel those things, and yeah, I'm very particular in the weather we fly.
Mark uses technology to help predict weather conditions. This computer receives updated radar images showing rain and wind patterns every 15 minutes. In his work, including crop spraying, forestry work, and fire prevention, Mark uses a global positioning satellite, or GPS. This tool documents his flight patterns.
It's really made us more accurate as far as what we're doing, and it's nice to have the data recording of everything we do in a day, not only for the farmers but also for ourselves.
Sensors register the plane's position, and a computer records coordinates onto a thin card. The GPS helps Mark to know exactly what parts of the fields have been sprayed. It also makes it easier for Mark to avoid obstructions such as power lines and trees. Before GPS, white flags were left in the field. Even before that, people with flags stood in the field to mark what areas had been sprayed. While Mark's profession brings him dangerously close to the ground, an electrical line worker faces dangers far above the ground. A line worker builds and maintains high voltage power lines up to 70 feet above ground. The lines hold from 69,000 to almost 350,000 volts of AC current. That's at least 35 times as powerful as the electric chair.
If you were to come in contact with this, I don't know what happened. I guess I've been fortunate not to see that. I would think death is pretty certain.
The current in these lines is so strong that one can feel it in the air 3 feet away at 69,000 volts. It's essential for the workers to know whether or not a line carries power.
We carry up with us when we go to work on a line what's called a tick tracer, and this tick tracer will sense voltage from a line.
Tom fell down from a power mast 5 years ago, from 45 feet above ground. The accident has made him more conscious about safety. He always climbs up using a helmet and a harness. If he should fall down again, he will not fall longer than the 4 feet long line strapped to the bucket. Both Mark and Tom have jobs that might seem dangerous at first sight. However, they agree that with today's concentration on safety in their professions, there's no need to worry for either of them. For Studio One, this is Terje Risnes.
Terje joins us in the studio to talk more about his story. When you were researching this, what type of person did you meet that were working in these dangerous situations?
All the people that I talked to, they were definitely calm, balanced, and they showed me that they were able to pay attention to what happened around them if something should go wrong. They were always there, ready, alert.
Mm-hmm. I also heard that with people who are flying in airplanes and spraying crops, they can't get insurance because it's life insurance, because it's too dangerous. Is that true?
I heard that too, but I talked to Mark Oley, the pilot, and he said that's wrong. They just have to have a good record and show that they're not going to crash every now and then, and they can get insurance just like you and me.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the interesting story, Terry. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. Stay with us.
Write us, call us, or fax us to learn more about Studio One. Our address is Post Office Box 7307, Grand Forks, North Dakota 58202. Check us out on the internet. The Studio One homepage is full of information about our award-winning show. We also want to hear what you have to say about the program.
University of North Dakota's Division of Continuing Education can help you learn throughout your lifetime. Begin or continue your education through correspondence study, extended degree programs, and extension courses. For your personal or professional growth, we offer conferences as well as courses in dietary management and real estate.
We invite you to contact us at the Division of Continuing Education to discuss your learning opportunities.
Call us or look us up on the World Wide Web.
School of Engineering Minds we're kind of one close-knit community. Everybody's friendly. You're not just, a name in the crowd or a number.
I've always wanted to do engineering. What we're learning here is just hands-on.
The department has been very good about acquiring the resources we need.
I think that through this project I've gained a lot of the team-working skills, leadership.
A campus that supports a wide range of degrees gives you a nice ability to round out your education in a variety of areas.
The academics are really strong. The professors, they really challenge you to learn and to apply your knowledge.
I think there's many different opportunities in different places that students can go on and off campus.
The University of North Dakota's College of Business and Public Administration is nationally and internationally recognized as a center of excellence.
We actually created a business plan for this small retail store, which is now being used.
It's introducing me to technology that'll be used in my business work environment.
For more information about the UND College of Business and Public Administration, phone 1-800-CALL UND.
Males outnumber females in the world of engineering, but the gap is closing. Women are graduating colleges as engineers at an increasing rate and doing just as well as their male counterparts. Here today to discuss women in engineering is Joyce Medalen. Joyce, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, can you give us a historical perspective of women in engineering?
Well, I think one of the earliest graduates was in probably 1890, something like that. But actually at UND we had our first woman graduated in 1916. So I think we were very foremost in getting women graduates out there.
Not far behind
at
all.
No, not at all.
When did you start to see an increase in engineering female students nationally and also here at the University of North Dakota?
We saw that in the early 70s, and part of that was as a result of a program that we had for high school students. And we brought high school junior and senior girls to campus, introduced them to engineering, and then after that we saw the enrollment increase. In fact, by 1975 they were at 10%, whereas prior to that they'd been less than 1. So I think it worked very well.
Yeah. Is there a particular major that women choose to study when they major in engineering, or?
Well, generally it's been chemical engineering, and I think the tie between the chemistry class that they take in high school has brought them to chemical engineering originally, and the majority of them have stayed there, but quite frankly they're really dispersed in all the disciplines that we offer here at UND, so it may be higher and lower depending upon the year, depending upon the students.
Now, with the growth of women coming into the engineering field, have you seen an attitude change towards women in these fields, or has it stayed mostly the same?
Well, of course there have been changes because obviously they weren't there before in large numbers, and so people got used to having them come. And I think in a lot of ways they really have been accepted. One of the things that I've been very pleased about is our faculty have been so acceptable of having them there and very supportive. And so that's been really nice. And out in the workforce, I see the women attaining manager levels as well as senior design engineers and things like that, which shows that they're being accepted in the profession and they're very good engineers.
Can you tell us some success stories of women in engineering, what they're doing now, today?
Well, very often we find when we talk to them, they talk about a different position that they had previously. But one of the things that I notice is the managerial, the senior design engineers, the owners of consulting firms, that opportunity exists, an opportunity for them to get involved in that sort of work. Okay. So they choose a wide variety, and that's the neat thing about engineering is the wide range of opportunities.
Can you tell us about maybe some graduates that you know personally that have gone on to do some interesting things in the engineering field for maybe the entertainment industry or medical fields or anything like that?
One of our graduates had the opportunity and was able to work on a project that was very much in entertainment, in the sense that she designed the recording studios for Michael Bolton and Mariah Carey, and a number of them have been involved in the medical field, working on medical devices, heart defibrillators, leads for pacemakers, things like that. So they've really been involved there. They've also been involved in, one of them was very involved in the startup of the corn processing facility at Wahpeton, North Dakota. So they've really covered all the bases and really been very successful.
Now, I understand coming up in October, we have the reunion celebration, 25th reunion of an organization here on campus having to do with women in engineering. What's going to go on and take place during that?
During October, the 23rd, 22nd, those dates, we're going to be inviting, we have invited all the alumni to return and be involved in that. One of the things that the general public should know about is that they're hosting a conference on that Friday afternoon, the 22nd, where these women will talk about what they do as engineers, what kind of motivation, confidence level, working with our current students that are here, but also high school students, teachers, anyone that would be interested in that. They're also going to make a presentation at the North Dakota Department of Education group that's meeting here, and so there's lots of things like that going on. So
wonderful.
Hopefully
so the
people
public
come
should
out.
attend.
You
Wonderful.
bet.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us, Joyce. Very
Okay.
interesting.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this.
Sioux Pride, the championship tradition, is strong at the UND bookstore. Before the game, shop the UND bookstore for the largest selection of officially licensed Sioux products. No matter what your sport, the UND bookstore can help you show your Sioux colors. The UND bookstore welcomes all alumni, friends, and Sioux fans. Shop for quality name brand clothing, Sioux collectibles, books, and supplies. Come to the UND bookstore located in the Student Union.
Voller Insurance partners with you in protecting what matters most. For more than 50 years, Voller has built its reputation on its people, its clients, and a commitment to VIP service. Voller Insurance, Fargo, Bismarck, Grand Forks. Voller Insurance understands that the strength of its people is its greatest asset. People that tailor insurance protection that meets your needs. That's the key to VIP service. Voller Insurance, Fargo, Bismarck, Grand Forks.
Columbia Mall in Grand Forks has been a cornerstone of the Grand Forks economy for over 20 years. Meet me at Columbia is a slogan that has seen friends and neighbors gathering at Columbia Mall. 3 main anchors with 80 specialty stores and shops greets customers daily, Monday through Sunday, featuring the very latest in goods and services at the most competitive prices. Shop Target, JCPenney, and Dayton's along with the specialty stores in climate-controlled comfort no matter what the season. A continuing leader and community cornerstone is Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
At Little Caesars, we only use vine-ripened tomatoes, a blend of 100% real cheese, dough made fresh each day. For 40 years, every Little Caesars pizza has been made this way, with a taste that makes you want to savor each and every bite. That is, if you like that sort of thing.
Dad?
Every Tuesday is Hot and Ready Tuesday at Little Caesars. Pick up a medium cheese or pepperoni pizza for only $4, guaranteed to be hot and ready in 5 minutes, or it's free every Tuesday. Pizza, pizza.
Tune in next week on Studio One. We are going to celebrate our 200th show. Plus, we'll still give you the rundown on what's happening in entertainment and news. All that and more next week on Studio One.
Thanks a lot for watching us today. We'll be here the same place, same time.